rise to a pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the July 23rd work session. Start out with public comment. Anyone wishing to address the board? No one from the public. Anybody here from the public would like to address the board? You got 3 minutes. Okay. So we'll close the public comment. We'll have another opportunity so other people show up here. We had some board presentations. Rick Fowler, Chief.
Good evening. I'm Rick Fowler. I'm Chief of the Village Ambulance. Here tonight first to give you guys a recap of where we're at so far this year. Our calls are up. We are at a total of 401 calls for the year, which is an increase since last year, which we were at about 386 at this time. Our mutual aids are up. We're responding not only to our own calls but to neighboring districts. We're handling, multiple calls out of district at once while we're also handling our own calls. So that's pretty impressive. Our volunteers have been coming out and we're staffing all of our equipment and vehicles and getting out, which is great. With the mutual aids being up, we're not mutual aiding in to us. So we're handling all of our own calls, and the only time we get assistance from another agency is if it's for something we can't handle. That's like requesting advanced life support on the overnight or needing controlled substance medications, since we don't have that right now. When I was up here, or when we gave the recap and our goals at the beginning of the year, we talked about the controlled substances, which we're still working on. We're drafting the policy, which is almost finished. We have to have the county approve it, and hopefully we'll get on that pretty soon. The other thing we talked about is starting a community CPR program, getting multiple businesses involved, putting ADs throughout the community. That's still also in the works. We pretty much have the plan drafted for that, so we're ready to move forward. I met with Steve. We talked about some different locations for the ADs around the village. One of the other things we also spoke about was upgrading our cardiac monitors. We've looked into that. We've done extensive research. We feel it's time that we replace them. These cardiac monitors are important for us because they're used on every advanced life support call and some other basic life support calls as well. These do EKGs on patients. They tell us what cardiac rhythm they're in, if they have a heart block, if they're having a MI, heart attack. They help us evaluate and determine what treatment's necessary for these patients. It also helps us determine what hospital they should go to. Our nearest heart center is Stony Brook. Granted, we don't usually go there, but the hospital has ambulances which will transfer patients there, or they'll send a helicopter. These monitors, what happens is we'll do a cardiac rhythm on someone, and we'll transmit these rhythms to the doctor at Stony Brook. They'll interpret these, they'll read them, and determine the treatment necessary. And if it does require a patient to be transferred, they're going to arrange for the patient to be transferred, whether it's by helicopter or an ambulance. So it's really important that early identifying these problems happens. Right now, our current monitors are having issues transferring these this vital information. A lot of times we'll start them up and they won't turn on. They won't read a rhythm. We have to unplug them, plug them back in, take the battery out, and it's costing a lot of time, which is not what we want to waste when we're trying to treat a patient. So one of the other problems is transmitting. Right now we have to transmit these over a radio, which isn't always effective, and they come in discombobbled, so the doctor can't fully read it. He might misinterpret it, therefore give us an improper treatment. Also, the other thing is artifact. When we go over a bump in the ambulance, which we know they ride, kind of bumpy, their trucks, it misinterprets that as a false rhythm. So we would like to maybe see us propose new monitors to the village. We feel it is important for us. They are very valuable to us. So we started the talks months ago with different vendors. We tried out 2 different monitors. We evaluated each one for 6 weeks, just really trying them out and really putting them through the test to see what would be best for us. We talked to a lot of our neighboring districts and see what they use. The monitor that we're proposing is what all of our neighbors are using. So we would be able to use their equipment, they would be able to use ours without having a learning curve. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, if we go on a mutual aid, our members will be able to use their equipment and not have to take ours out of service, which would be great. While we were talking about monitors, we said, well, let's talk about AEDs as well. So within the package, there are 10 AEDs as well. That's for the village to place for the heart safe community that we were talking about. Amongst that also is a Lucas 2 device, which is the chest compression machine that we've used. We only have one of them currently. Right now it's rotated between our first responder during the day and our first due ambulance at night. If the first responder and the ambulance is on a call and we get a second call for a cardiac arrest, this machine isn't available. So then we have to go back to the old-fashioned CPR, which becomes very tiring. There's a lot of mechanical or human error. So we'd like to incorporate that. This company fortunately makes all of them. So we have a big package here which incorporates bulk pricing, since we're going out for 4 of these monitors, which would be in the 2 ambulances, the first responder vehicle, and also one of our chief vehicles. So we would have 4 of these on the road. Amongst this in the monitor is a RAD-57 device, which is the only way that we can determine if someone's suffering carbon monoxide poisoning. Currently we also have one of these, and that gets rotated with the Lucas 2. So again, we don't always have that on every call. I felt it might be more beneficial to our department if we take this feature out of the monitors and buy separate units, which actually turned out to be cheaper for us. It was about a $5,000 option within the overall purchase. By removing that and buying them from the vendor themselves, the separate units, we got the price down to, I believe it's about $4,400 each. So there is some savings there. I was looking at the different pricing options for this. It is a big purchase. Leasing, I looked at, it was about 4 or 5%. So with the overall purchase, that was like the price of another monitor. So I didn't really feel that that was a smart decision for us to go with. Amongst this big package, we have a bunch of trade-ins as well, which is our old monitors, which are losing value over time. Right now, currently, we have 4 that we're going to be trading in. They offered to give us $6,000 each, so that's $24,000. I was made aware that the price has already dropped down to $4,500 each. So the quote I have for these are good until the end of July. So at which point, after July, the price will go down to $4,500 each. So we'll lose probably about $6,000 in trade-ins. I have another trade-in, which is another type of monitor that the company is giving us, and that's worth $3,500. So altogether, our total trade-ins would be $27,500, which takes off a significant value off the total purchase. Both these trade-ins, the Village of Southampton will get checks back, so we can use them wherever we like. They don't have to go towards this project. They can go wherever you would like. The check's made out to you guys. My suggestion would be to put it towards this total package, which would help bring the price down to $129,324.65. We've certainly gone through this for a long time. We've evaluated different ones. We wanted to really do due diligence and look into what would be best for us. And I think we've determined what the best option would be for us. So we'd like to ask your guys' support to move forward with this project and, you know, possibly purchase this.
This is
Oh, no.
60/40
No.
purchase, right?
This is-
Oh, that's in-
Rich?
Right.
Well, the chief basically covered it all. He did touch on how he approached the board about it in his year review, what he was looking to do to bring the department into the next level of efficiency and life-saving. So this was one of the projects he was talking about. Again, he's talking about replacing devices they have now, which are, have a shelf life to them. So the importance about these particular items, because even I went on with him and the other previous chief, Klinger, to see the other neighboring departments. So the importance about these particular ones they looked at, again, is the efficiency of them, the accuracy, the improved accuracy in reading, and of course the portability, whereas they can go from department to department. And as he pointed out, mutual aid is in the summer months gets a lot more. And we're, fortunately for others, but unfortunately for us, being called upon more from other neighboring departments to help, which is obviously a testament to the response time and the people we have devoted to doing this job. So it only helps him. And clearly he's done his due diligence along with Steve. Steve, I think, will vouch for in a moment how he sent the chief back multiple times to keep working on these numbers and find out the way to work it. So the important part of it is that the trade-in value, which is really the savings here on the current items, again, the longer we wait, the less obviously value they have. So again, I just say that's what the chief said. He's covered it all about why they need it, what is it, what they need it for, and what it's going to cost. He's worked out a way to save money on it. That's why he's here to present it to you guys and see what you think about it.
Steve, do you want to have any did you want to make comments?
Well, I mean, we've been working on this for quite a while. Still, Rick and I have been meeting when Mark was still here, and the whole president. I'm going to say probably since December or November,
At least,
whatever.
yeah.
But then Mark obviously left, and I have to give Rick a lot of credit because every time he came back, the numbers were lower. And like I was joking with him before, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of him working out some kind of deal. But I think he did a great job on this thing. I give him a lot of credit for keep going back at the well. And, not only the pricing, but I think, he did a great job with regard to looking at Zoll, I think was the other vendor that, has been a big supplier for us in the past years. And just, one of the things that impressed me the most is that he looked at the surrounding areas so that if we're dealing with a mutual aid situation, everybody's talking the same language with regard to the same equipment, which I think is an important issue.
That's great.
Do you guys have any questions regarding this stuff or anything I can answer for you?
No, I think you did a great job. I also want to say, for the period of time I'm in office now, 8 years, going into 9 years, I've seen the ambulance grow into something so unbelievably professional, and you answer your calls immediately. I cannot even get
Thank
over
you.
that. And I think every member of this community who's older would want this equipment. Seriously, I mean, it's
I don't know if I consider myself older, but I
But
am
I-
over 50 now,
yeah,
and
right.
I'm looking at this stuff saying, statistically,
They wanna know we
I
have
might
the-
need this stuff.
Statistically,
Yeah.
you're getting closer.
they want to know we have the good equipment.
Yeah, for sure. And,
And that's the importance of how this equipment, the data directly relays now to Stony Brook and other, as opposed to having, so the time savings there alone is
Right.
phenomenal. And I saw that actually work, see that happen firsthand. So it's just improving the technology. It's pretty incredible.
You guys have done a great job.
sure.
So it's $138,000.
Yeah, what I was, toying with, obviously the leasing option is not a way to go.
Right.
Where we stand right now, we have roughly about 38,000 in cap reserves, which I'm just pretty much earmarking for the Tahoe that's been ordered for PD.
Okay.
We're putting $100,000 per the budget into cap reserves this year. Obviously, we've got this to look at. We've got another 2 police vehicles to look at, and Gary's going to talk about what DPW equipment we can look at. So while, he needs to come in by July 31st, what we can do on this is do another bond with regard to whatever we want to purchase this year. And the reason I want to lump it all together is that's the same legal fees whether we do a $150,000 bond to pay for this, or whether we do a $350,000 bond, or whatever the number is for everything that's concerned. Okay, so it behooves us to put it all together. All he needs is a verbal commitment by July 31st to lock in these prices. We can go forward with that. And with respect to the bonds, you know, I mean, we're at 2% interest rate basically, which is, you know, pretty good. And as far as I know, we've been doing some bonding, but, you know, we're in pretty good shape financially on that. We can still handle more debt service, and we have 3 bonds that are going to mature in 2015, which is the next fiscal year. Okay, we're in the 2014 year, so it's not like we're overloading ourselves here. So we are, you know, amortizing this down.
Okay. Yeah. One of the things when we talked about upping our bond rating, they'd said that the village actually never really bonded out stuff, so
Right.
as we do, going the bond way instead of a lease or.
It's a lot cheaper.
It
And
is,
at least on this item, 2
Yeah.
percentage points right there.
It was
200
4.9%
basis
for the
points you're
lease,
talking about alone.
which was, you know, about $20,000,
Right.
which is a lot of money.
yeah, you know how I feel about you guys. So you do an incredible
And
job, and
we're very fortunate to have a board like you guys who support us so much, and we do appreciate that.
yes. So you're trying to get yeses out of.
Butter and us.
You say that after the fact.
No, well, over time, I mean, you
Even
guys
bought
have been
the
very
EMS of the
supportive.
year, you know, so even as the little, you know, trophy, you know.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, you guys initiated that, you know, Heart Safe Community, where we did a lot. How many people actually ended up doing CPR with you guys?
Right.
And all these, I know you went to the high school, you did all the kids over there.
Which we're about to put forth another instructors class to get a whole bunch, about 10 more instructors for our own
Okay.
department. We
Great.
finally got that locked in with the county.
Great.
So that's going to be the beginning of August.
Okay.
So we'll have more after that. And I know this sounds like a lot of equipment, but the ADs aren't for us. They're for everyone.
Right.
They're for the public. They're for the community. They're, I mean, as of right now, the village only has a couple of ADs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which aren't easily accessible. I mean,
Right.
so ultimately, I mean, my vision, I know I spoke to Steve about this, I'd like to see them throughout the village with call boxes, not just for ambulance emergencies, police, fire, everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's an opportunity to, you know, do something great for us.
I think it's a great initiative. I really do. I really do. So, okay.
So as Steve said, I mean, I know these have expirations on it. The reason which is because when we started this process, it was so long ago.
Right.
And all these companies come to the end of their quarters and, you know, the prices on things change.
Yeah.
So I can verbally commit to the company and always cancel the order if we need to.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
so yeah.
So we can send them along with a verbal, good, or how would we? with-
Yeah.
If you approve it, you
resolution for
can, you
that,
know,
so just-
place the order and, you
Yeah.
know, and we can, the bonding is a separate issue,
Right.
based on what we decide on.
Because
what we're
really
gonna
what
structure.
we'd be doing is, let's go out and approve the bonds.
Right,
so,
exactly.
But we could make a motion to accept the
don't-
bid, right?
I don't
Or
wanna
what do we have to do?
Put a damper on this, but what about public bidding?
I don't think it's even,
I think this
specialty
is
item.
this is state bid pricing. It's actually below state bid, which
Oh, there's a state contract?
yeah, which
Yes.
they do.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
I'm
missed-
sorry, we didn't make that clear before.
I didn't hear that. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
each
no.
company has state contracting.
Okay.
And
No, the
they actually
two-
give us a better price than state. We have a
Correct.
20% discount on this stuff since
Okay.
it's within the group pricing.
All right.
We're okay.
Okay, and there were 2 companies looked at, both state bid companies, and they actually ended up with the cheaper one.
Okay.
So, and actually, when we compared both companies, it was about a $1,600 difference. So
Okay.
we had them neck and neck. And this total package started, I think, at about $178,000. And we got them to come down to
Wow.
138.
Yeah, basically had them bidding against each other. He worked them pretty good.
Well, good job, Rick. So, mother be proud.
Had to throw that
You
in.
have to go there.
Had to go there. So then,
Okay.
so I make a motion and to accept the bidder?
Yeah, I'll second that. Any
Further
further
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Well, thank you guys very much. And,
Well, thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for
certainly
what
go
you
to
do.
good use. Before I leave, I just want to welcome Frank. He's our new second assistant chief. We all moved up, and Frank's filling in the second assistant spot for the remainder of the term. So,
Congratulations there, Frank.
Melza, M-I-L-Z-A.
so. All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Great. Thanks,
Chief.
guys.
Thanks, chief, and new chief.
We got Gary up here.
Stuff to follow.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, yeah.
I need a public safety pickup truck.
4 tires.
Snow tires, yeah. I originally was coming in tonight to talk to you to purchase 2 vehicles, one for Central Garage and one for the Parks Department. And speaking with Steve, he did tell me about the bonding process and how we'd really like to look at the whole list so he knows how much he has to go out for, budget-wise. Did you provide them with that
Yeah,
list?
the last page in the board presentation has Gary's list of vehicles. They have this whole thing, add the 211 with the sweepers, so one for each one.
Okay. Basically, we're not in a grand hurry to get these things because the only thing that's available on a county bid is going to be the sweeper. The 2 first vehicles you see, that is a pickup truck for the supervisor for Kenny Zay for Central Garage, we would have to go out to bid for, as well as a dump truck for the Parks Department. We would also have to go out to bid for that. We would have to prepare specs up this week and then announce that bid and so on. The one item that became a little bit easier is the sweeper. We started pricing sweepers out around 270 grand. Then we found one from Trias on county bid for 211. And it's kind of getting the bum's rush from him because we found out there was a new one in Jersey they're going to bring out on Thursday as a demo, and if we like it, we can just keep it. I didn't think it was going to happen that quick, but we'll take the demo
You
anyway.
just keep it, or we have to pay for it?
Well,
Just
No.
keep. I'm not money there.
so anyway, so back to the start is Kenny's egg. We're looking for a pickup truck for him. It's about 30 grand. Kenny would hand his truck, which is a utility body truck, down to Mark Maddox and crew. That's got all the cabinet doors so they can load more tools on. Kenny, at his point in his career in the village here, is the supervisor running payroll back and forth and bills and things like that to Village Hall. So he doesn't need the room for all that equipment on his truck. 4 mechanics, 4 trucks. It looks like a lot, do you need that many? But at any given time, we have about 40 trucks rolling on the road, and these guys have to go off in different directions, be it running up the island for parts or locally for service for different vehicles. And speaking to Kenny, he says he does have to keep 4 vehicles rolling. We're trying to retire a 1999 fire department truck that was handed down to us, a Tahoe with 130,000 miles on it. His other vehicles is another fire department truck, which I believe is 2000 or 2001. And then they have their 2 current trucks, utility body truck in 06 and their pickup truck in 04. So we're trying to slide them all down the line one and let Kenny have the new truck to start out with. All right. Number 2 on there, I just told you a little bit about the sweeper. We have a 1997 Isuzu sweeper, 16 years old. We would like to retire that, junk it. It is in running condition right now, but pretty much it goes out, lasts a couple days, it breaks down. It does work, it doesn't work great. It doesn't pick up a lot of heavy duty material, but if you have a light amount of leaves and things on the street, it will clean that up. The current primary sweeper that goes out 6 days a week right now is from Malvisi. We bought that 7 years ago. Not really sure if that was lease or bond
That was
at
a
the
lease.
time.
That was a lease, it paid off.
But that's paid off. We're essentially rebuilding that as we go. The hopper on that has been rebuilt with all new steel. They got that done several weeks ago. Now the door is rotting off. We're trying to rebuild the door. And basically we're trying to get the 97 out the door. and have this second sweeper be the backup sweeper, and then get a new one, so we have an everyday sweeper. Really, we'd only use one sweeper during the summer. We do mostly 2 sweepers in the springtime when we're picking up all the salt sand or the prickly balls on Main Street, Bill. So we're just trying to keep the rotation of equipment going before we don't have a sweeper at all. We did have that happen this year where we were down with no sweeper for a week and got a lot of complaints. The next one down was the Parks Department is asking for a dump truck. They used to go with rack trucks, but we have found a mason body dump truck where the sides fold down, so it can be used as a multi-purpose truck. We do want to replace an older vehicle that has frame rot that's been parked in the yard. Between Kenny and Larry, they showed it to me and they said there is a safety hazard to run that truck much longer. So we'd like to sell that, bring this new one in with Larry with a plow on it. The beach tractor is something that we can squeak by with what we have until the springtime. This 60,000 is really a guesstimate at this point. We felt that would be the number. We have a 2004 New Holland, I believe, right now, and it's basically just rotting from being on the beach every day. Kenny's keeping it going. He said we needed a new one last year. He says we need a new one this year. And anyway, we would hope by the springtime we could go forward with that vehicle.
Do our guys wash these things down and get the salt off of them? I know it's, I think with a beach tractor, you get it out there. I mean, you take your truck out onto the beach, you wash it off.
They do, but they don't do enough. Basically, these things are there every day, and the guy's running from there to another job. I know we've talked about that at department head meetings. They've been spoken to. They go down, they sweep the things off, they hose them out, and it's good for a while, but after a while, we have to go remind them to do it again. It's the same thing with the gators on the beach.
Right.
They should sweep them out, hose them off every day. It doesn't really happen.
Yeah. Well, it's costs us a lot of money because they don't want to do,
It does. It's the time as well. The guy who's done raking the breach is lining up for the next job, but
Yeah.
his supervisor could just say, make sure you stay and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right. So we go down the line from there. A lot of these things are items that we would like to have that would be beneficial, but they're not something we need this year per se. They could wait into next year. The utility vehicle for the parks is something that Larry would really like to have to make his life easier. I hate to say it in front of the camera, but I know it's something, if we're tight with money, we could probably hold off on that until we really need it. Currently we have a mule, so when that thing fell apart, we could replace it with this Kubota. The bucket truck, we have 2 of them currently. We're using the newer one, I believe, is a 2006. It's still in fine shape. We back it up with a 1986 bucket truck, which operates, but it's another one of these tired machines. This vehicle we're looking at would be more of a van-style bucket truck, and with the 2 electricians, they often have to work on arms, cobra heads that it's really hard to do with one man, so they like to get 2 buckets up there to take care of it. They have used the highway bucket truck as aid in the past, but we can't always get it. All right, and then below that you have utility trucks listed for the building maintenance department. Just trying to keep them in the rotation. Our oldest 2 trucks there are 1995 and 1996. They are operational. They're just really getting old. Right. And then I didn't get you a price on the gator when I gave it to Steve. Caitlin is asking for a new gator for next summer at the beach to replace one of them, and that's around $10,000. So to me, what I am really looking for this year from you guys in the short term is the 3 items of the supervisor truck for Kenny, the sweeper, and the Parks Department dump.
Can I ask you a question on the sweeper? When we bought that last sweeper, after we purchased it, I don't know, I remember you were there and I don't remember who it was with, but we had a conversation with someone from a different municipality, I think up the island, and they talked about a sweeper that they insisted upon having. I just wondered if we looked into any other models than the current models that we have, the one that we bought 7 years ago, because they had talked about a sweeper that picked up every bit of sand. They were so emphatic about getting something that really removed as much as they could, or they said he wanted something that really picked the sand up. Do you remember that?
No.
I just would like to know if, I'd love to sort of see if there's other companies out there that might have a better product.
We can.
I know they really want to sell this to you and can give it to us right away, which.
Well, the easy question for this 211 one is that it's a county bid. So we don't have to start pricing them out and add an extra month to a purchase. And, I told you it's available.
Mm-hmm.
The other sweeper, I'm not even going to be able to tell you the brand name tonight, that Kenny and John looked into. They had a guy came out. We didn't demo anything yet. They just configured it for something similar, and that's one that came in at $270. But there are other manufacturers out there that we can look at.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't come tonight to say let's buy it.
Right.
Obviously on Thursday I'm going to get a demo. I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about a vehicle I haven't even seen other than a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that the town has those two, and first we thought it was his father, but Mike in our central garage, his father-in-law drives one for the town, which has two, and loves it.
Mm-hmm. Has
Eric?
this one?
That has the same type, yes.
Right.
How does the sweeper that's coming in unloads? Because that's always an issue with the sweeper, especially if you're going to have to dispose of
Yeah, the
road pickup. You don't want to drop out of the hopper. You want,
most of the new ones, and this one has it too. It's an elevated hopper.
yeah, that's what you want.
So you basically do unload, it does go up and it dumps over into the side of the truck, and it
Yeah.
will dump as high as our larger truck.
That's what you want.
It's got a stainless steel hopper on it. Right now we've always had steel hoppers, and they're good for a few years, but the salt sand that we get in the springtime really knocks us out. So this will all be stainless. The other thing about this, they're telling me, I haven't seen it yet, is that there's no grease fittings on it. It's all sealed. So you'll never have to grease the machine. And that was attractive to us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I don't know how we handle going forward. I'm basically trying tonight to go out to bid for two vehicles, the pickup and the dump truck, and then I have to find out more information about the sweeper.
I'd like to add that I had a meeting with Larry in the Parks Department, and at one point they had 3 dump trucks. They're now down to 2. One is 2000, and that's the one that's rotted so severely that they were trying to weld pieces of steel onto it. It's too far gone. So that's one of the reasons. And they also use that for plowing during the summertime, during the winter time. God forbid if we have any more of them, but if we have some bad storms during the winter time or another hurricane.
That's the one that currently has the salt spreader on it for that reason, because we don't want to put it on anything else since that one's in such bad shape.
Right.
But it's been parked since the salt season has been ended.
Right.
So we want everything, Steve, or just 2?
I know what you want.
Well, once again, I'm not looking for an okay to purchase anything. I'm looking for an okay to go out to bid to get prices on the 2. And then when I do research the sweeper more, when we see it, then I would come back to you and ask you about a county bid possibly on that and a purchase.
You see, Gary, so for the 2 you're talking about, it's for the right now. The supervisor truck, you currently have 4 in use, and you're basically looking to replace one that's, so we're not adding, but we're replacing one. An older one, replace it with this, and just doing, shifting around, but there'll be 4, there's 4 trucks in use, and we're gonna continue to have 4 trucks.
Yeah, no increase in the
Okay.
fleet.
So and then same thing with the dump truck then. You have one that's out of service currently, and on its last leg, they're putting it together with welding and spit and polish and band-aids as it is. This again would replace that. not be an addition to.
Correct, we'd sell that.
Can you guys get us a breakdown of all the vehicles that we have in the village? Year, mileage, condition on them, so that way we can look at where we're at,
Spreadsheet.
what we're carrying on our agenda.
Yeah, I mean, like the short list that I've given you here, these are the things that are gonna come at you.
Right.
If not now, soon. We can certainly do that. We do have the program now that we can spit that right out.
Okay.
It doesn't give you condition of the vehicle. We have to ID that for you.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that'll be a little bit more of a scary list for you. You'll see we've got a lot of old vehicles that should be replaced, but we just can't replace them
Right.
fast enough. We don't have the funds.
Oh, I mean, does it list mileage? I mean, sometimes we have older vehicles, but they really don't get a lot of mileage on them, you know?
Right. No, and I hear you. I hear you. Like the 2000 truck that's all rotted out, there's actually only 52,000 miles on that vehicle.
But that's been used for spreading salt, you said. Is that correct?
It's spreading salt,
Yeah,
as well as a dump truck.
right. Okay.
Yeah, we can do that.
All right.
We're gonna get beat up because we're surrounded by salt, with the salt ocean. And then it gets compounded with the salt in the winter, through
Yeah.
applications for the road, so it's, you know.
Yeah, one of the worst things we get in the springtime is we get into these ice storms and we have to put the stuff down, and then right away people are calling us because they don't like the messy streets. So it's, do we clean it all up and then put it all over our trucks and vehicles, or do we leave it there till we know we're out of the cold weather?
Yeah. I know.
Sometimes the public gets their way and sometimes they don't. But anyway, that's a different story.
Okay.
So would we be
Basically, you're
able
asking
to?
to go out to bid on just those two vehicles right there. So, which, is that a problem?
I don't have a problem with it.
We're okay?
Yep.
So we'll make a motion to authorize you to go out to bid on the supervisor pickup for the central garage and the dump truck for the Parks Department.
Okay.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, and if I do get a firm date of a demo on Thursday, if anybody's interested, I'll be happy to
Okay.
call you down and look at it
All right,
This
great.
is the demo on the sweeper?
on the sweep.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to see that.
What
Can
time's
we
that?
drive it?
I don't have it yet,
Okay,
they're
for
saying
spin?
Not
Thursday.
interested in driving, but
Seen you drive.
Come on, that's a golf cart. That's a
Thank you all.
I'm talking about the that you're shifting gears, making that turn on the Windmill Lane on two wheels. So, okay. Public hearings, none. Communications of the board.
We have two. First one for Coalition for Women's Cancers. This year, the Coalition for Women's Cancers would like to hang pink and teal ribbons on the trees in the village during the months of September and October. September is Ovarian Cancer Month, and October is Breast Cancer Month. We promise to keep an eye on the ribbons, and if they look bad, we will replace them, and they will be taken down by November 1st. Please let me know if this is a go as soon as possible. It takes me a while to make the ribbons. Thank you for your continued support. I look forward to hearing from you. Susie Barry Roden, President.
I don't know how I feel about 2 months' worth of ribbons around the trees, to be honest with you.
Did they ask us, didn't it who?
actually, I think they look nice. All of a sudden, you wake up and you come downtown and here the trees are wrapped with a ribbon around them.
These are two, though. Right?
What?
These
I
are
know.
two, though.
For September, October?
It says hang pink and teal ribbons.
So when it looks, teal will probably be September, and then pink would be October. So October is normally Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Is that the way they're doing it, or are they doing it with both for the 2 months?
Good question. I don't know. I read it as it's two.
Like
Yeah.
ribbons around the trunk?
Mhm.
Wrapped around?
Yeah, but both
Yeah, I think
colors.
they're pink
That's-
and teal
yeah,
together.
That's the way I read it.
Pink and teal.
I can
Pretty.
check, but
Kinda almost what Bill looks like over there. I don't know what Bill looks like
Wondering if
over
we could
there.
get a multicolored ribbon and
I mean,
get by
that's-
with 1 month. and
That's
two
a
for the
good.
price
Yeah,
of one.
saying,
Oh, that's
exactly-
color, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was
that's-
thinking pretty much
pink
what you look
shirt.
like right there is what the
You
tree would
have
look
it
like.
right there.
I got this from the
He's in
coalition.
vogue.
Yeah.
Maybe what we need to do is get a,
Clarification? Sure.
see what the ribbon looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And what they want to do, if it's 2 ribbons or if it's just one and they have the 2 colors on it. And then maybe there's a way for them to, instead of doing the entire month of September and October,
Mm-hmm.
because usually by 3rd week in October, they start to really look bad.
Well, they said they
Weather gets
replaced
bad,
them.
too.
Yeah, but
Okay, I'll give them a
November 1st. They replace
Maybe
them.
it's one ribbon that happens to be pink and teal.
I don't know. I'd like to get more information and stuff. And
sounds like to the,
What, trees just in the business district or down
They wrap
Hampton
all
Road?
the
and-
trees down Main Street. They
usually
usually-
business
yeah.
district is what they usually do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Second one's from Southampton Public Schools. Southampton Athletic Department would like to get permission to use the Downs Family Park soccer fields for our junior high soccer teams. This year, we will have 2 boys and 2 girls junior high soccer teams again, which creates some field space issues for us occasionally. We would like to use the fields from 3 to 4:45, Monday to Friday, beginning around September 5th through November 2nd. We would provide you with an insurance certificate. In the past, we have worked with Tim Rumpf and Allied Junior Soccer programs to address any potential for conflicts, and we will continue to do so. Thank you for your consideration, Darren Phillips.
Yeah, we've done this before. So, to make a motion to authorize Southampton's Public Schools to utilize the Downs Family Park soccer fields in accordance with their letter dated July 10th, 2013.
Second?
Second?
All in favor? Resolutions, item 1, resolve that the reading of the minutes for the public session of July 11, 2013 be dispensed with, and that those minutes be accepted as filed by the village administrator, and that the actions taken at that meeting be and hereby are ratified and approved. Can I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the claims for the warrants dated July 23, 2013 totaling $396,202.60, warrant 3 general fund, $5,142.66, warrant 4 general fund payables, $31,129.77, warrant 3 trust fund, and $2,860, warrant 2 trust fund expense be ordered and approved. Have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Item 1, 71 Hill LLC, August rent for the, Building Inspector's Office, $4,635. CSE Employee Benefit Fund, July insurance premium, $22,779.63. Page 2, Commission on Vets Patriotic Events, contribution towards the parade, $2,000. Page 3, Custom Clay, clay for the ball field, $2,783.23. Glens Falls National Bank and Trust, ambulance low stat premium, $47,602.08. Page 4, Island Tech Services Network support, annual support, $17,015.40. Page 5, JEMC September Fest payment for PR work, $2,750. LIPA, 2 payments for the PD, $4,577.15, and for Building Department, $4,524.86. Page 6, New York State Employees Health Insurance for August, $226,247.09. Office of the State Controller, June fines for the court, $16,208. Perform printing, parking tickets for PD, $1,224.32. Pitney Bowes, mail for the PD, $1,519.99. Page 7, Rapid Recovering, June towing services, $1,495. Ronco Building Cleaning Supplies, $2,369.36. Page 8, Sprague, 3,015 gallons of gasoline, $8,735.67. Page 9, Toomey Latham Shea, Metro PCS legal fees, $4,825.69. Tyco Integrated Security, quarterly security charge for 25 Joke Lane, $1,455.42. Verizon, June phone bill, rolling on to page 10, $3,643.21. W&G Service, AC unit replacement unit at PD for $2,800. Payable warrant, number 4, Hammer Medical, ambulance supplies, $2,959.82. Trust warrant, William Martin, tax sale redemption, $30,463.34. Last trust warrant is Gem Fence, the post and rail fence along the police department, $2,860. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the attached schedule of budget transfers to eliminate overages for the period ending May 31st, 2013. Can I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. These items are just to clear up the overages for the fiscal year end May 31st, 2013. First one is 200 to court supplies, 3,815 to court contractual, with 1,500 from court coming from court part-time, 1,290 from court miscellaneous, 1,000 from court equipment, $260 from court overtime. Next one is 7,050 into clerk contractual, 625 into clerk supplies, 250 into clerk telephone, 17,485 into law contractual, 1,465 from unallocated insurance, 9,300 into employee benefits Social Security, with 36,175 coming from employee benefits medical. Next one is 1,805 into building supplies, 7,940 into building utilities, 585 into buildings telephone, 1,170 into buildings clothing, 500 into traffic control contractual, 175 into traffic control electricity, with 12,175 coming from buildings contractual. Next one is 3,365 into central garage supplies, $95 into central garage telephone, with 2,700 coming from central garage miscellaneous, 760 coming from garage contractual. Next one is 1,600 into fire equipment, 1,600 into fire utilities, 1,200 into fire contractual, with 4,400 coming from fire miscellaneous. Next one is 94,370 into police personnel, 1,580 into police seasonal, 3,840 into police telephone, 4,160 into police miscellaneous, 1,775 into police clothing, with 12,000 coming from police overtime, 16,375 coming from police travel, 4,350 coming from police equipment, 27,000 coming from police supplies, 31,000 coming from police contractual, and 15,000 from radio operators personnel. Next one is 3,175 into zoning contractual, 9,175 into planning contractual, $850 into ARB contractual, with 1,300 coming from ARB personal, 150 coming from planning commission expense, and 11,750 coming from employee benefits medical. Next one is 600 into Cooper's telephone, 200 into Cooper's contractual, 260 into Cooper's utilities, with $1,060 coming from Cooper's personnel. Next one is 4,200 into Parks supplies, $230 into Parks utilities, 2,400 into Parks contractual, 1,250 into Parks clothing, with 500 coming from Parks miscellaneous, and 7,580 from street maintenance supplies. The next one is safety inspection telephone, $1,000 in, with 1,000 coming from safety inspection contractual. And the last one is 8,150 into ambulance supplies, with 1,820 coming from ambulance salaries, 1,400 coming from ambulance miscellaneous, 530 from ambulance equipment, 175 into highway telephone, with 4,575 coming from highway fuel. Further discussion?
I have a couple of
Sure.
questions.
Mhm.
Is this it now for the year?
Yep.
It is the end of it. So when you take 36,000 out of employee benefits medical,
Mhm.
don't we kind of know what our medical is for the whole year? I mean, we had that much left over there?
Mhm.
It's amazing.
Well, because what happens, we try to estimate it early in the year, but the rates change in January. So
Oh.
while they do give us an indication what the rate will be, percentage-wise,
Right.
there's always a fluctuation there.
Okay, well, that's
Do the
good to
budget,
know.
we do the budget in March, and, they try to get it, they're forecasting out 10, 11 months ahead of time, but, to give us as much budget
Right.
tools as we can work with.
Right.
And then you also have, changes where what we pay out on the Medicare reimbursement if retirees pass away, that fluctuates with that.
Okay, I mean, because it's you even look at police overtime, so it's like, do we take that into consideration next year when the budget's done, or is it just, do we kind of keep it not knowing whether or not we're going to need it?
Well, the
and
police
then if it's
overtime,
left over,
they always put a number out on the budget, and,
Right.
Tommy did a pretty good job this year, so we had excess there.
Mhm.
And the 94,000 really is just the accrual at year end. It's not really a payout that went into police salaries.
Mm.
Usually the overtime's the other way around.
Right.
I know, that was when I was looking at that, I was
Exactly.
wondering, do we?
Not good.
Probably there on the
I know,
receiving
that's
end.
why I was
Exactly.
wondering, we had 12,000 left over there,
Right.
that is
Yeah.
pretty
Yep.
astonishing,
Mhm.
you know? Okay, those are just questions, you know.
Joe questions.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the hiring of Mahal Asimov as a seasonal employee for the Highway Department at an hourly rate of $10. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the hiring of Oleg Vasiliev as a grasshopper at an hourly rate of $10. Can I have a motion?
Motion?
Second?
Second?
Just want to note that this is a replacement person, that
Yeah, I figured that.
somebody didn't work out there. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the village administrator to sign a contract with JAD Construction in the amount of $65,000 for the installation of an elevator shaft at Village Hall, which bid was approved at the June 13, 2013 board meeting. Can I have a motion?
Make that motion.
Second?
Second?
Just a little discussion on that. We're slated to actually start work August 15th at this point in time.
Okay.
All right,
Oh, so we are gonna go ahead before the end of the season?
Well, there's a lot of interior work that needs to be done.
Okay.
And we're only going to really lose one parking spot at this point in time. But it's just, to get it moving along, and lead time will work out pretty good. But
Okay.
How long they estimate from?
probably about 3 months.
3 months on today?
And then we're gonna go into, starting to build out upstairs on the second floor.
Yes.
Organize.
Yeah, they started actually working today on moving some electrical around, and
Okay.
I went up last Friday and cleaned out probably 50 or so boxes that have to be tossed and disposed of. And they'll start working on demolition walls.
Okay.
We do have some pipes that need to be cut downstairs. Unfortunately, the ones that are in the storage room there have tested slightly for asbestos, so we're going to hire a company to come in to do that removal,
Okay.
rather than doing it ourselves.
Right.
Just a couple of small pieces. It's not much at all, but
Okay.
being it is small, the problem is getting somebody to do it, because
Right.
it's not it's not very attractive for them to come in with everything they need to do. So Gary is having some difficulty there getting them in.
Okay.
But right now, we're looking for mid-August to start. All in favor?
Aye.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the village administrator to sign a contract with All Ways Elevator in the amount of $55,000 for the installation of an elevator at Village Hall, which bid was approved at the June 13, 2013 board meeting. Have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
For the moment, it's gonna be the elevator that goes nowhere because go up, there's nothing there for anyone to go
Yep,
to.
exactly.
That's right.
To the ozone.
Right,
Multi-rides.
you're right.
Yeah, okay. Two resolutions on here for discussion items. Everybody got a chance to read these, right?
Pardon?
Everybody got a chance to read them, right? Okay. Rick, do you want to?
I've prepared a resolution for you that would issue a license for use of a designated portion of the Ocean Beach in connection with operation of a surf school. That's in pursuant to the local law amendment that we adopted at the last meeting. It's a 3-page resolution with 11 conditions. It's all written so that you don't need to read it all unless you want me to. You've all seen it ahead of time. It incorporates the various limitations and conditions that we talked about during the course of the public hearing, etc. I'll just give you the highlights. The designated portion of the Ocean Beach is the Ocean Beach at the end of Fowler Street. The license is a temporary license and will terminate on September 15, 2013. You also have the right to sooner terminate it if you have any problem with what goes on down there. The days and hours of operation of the surf school are limited to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday between the hours of 9 a.m. and 12 noon. The number of students attending the surf school shall not exceed 20 students. There's a provision in there that this is limited to the surf school operation and that it doesn't allow private lessons before, during, or after the permitted hours of operation. There's a provision in there about no surf school signage or sponsorship signage. There's a provision in there that references the New York State Sanitary Code regulations regarding children's day camps, and it particularly refers to the qualified personnel requirements of those regulations. And although the county has determined that those regulations don't apply to this surf school because of their limited definition of what a children's day camp is. With this condition, you determine that the qualified personnel requirements, that talks about certified instructors, certified lifeguard, certified first aid stuff, you are determining that those are appropriate requirements to apply to this surf school, and therefore you're imposing a condition that they have to meet those qualified personnel requirements. There's also a provision in there that if there's any other state sanitary code requirements that are applicable or become applicable, that the licensee has to comply with those. There's a provision in there for the licensee to provide comprehensive public liability insurance with a limit of at least $5 million, naming the village as an additional insured. There's a provision in there about indemnifying the village from any liability or damage. And a provision in there that if you, after this resolution, if you decide that you want to impose any additional rules and regulations applicable to a surf school on the Ocean Beach, you can adopt those by resolution, and they automatically become conditions of this license. So that's a summary of the 3-page resolution.
I was just thinking, we didn't put anything on here about it, staff to student ratio.
Right.
That's part of the subpart 7-2 of the state sanitary code, summer day camp regulations, has the qualified personnel requirements include, a ratio.
Okay.
I don't know what that ratio is without looking back at them, but
Okay.
that's in those regulations. So,
Yeah, I knew we talked about it.
so you've incorporated everything that's in those qualified personnel regulations that would be applicable to a summer day camp.
Okay.
You're making applicable to this surf school,
Okay.
because it really is a summer day camp.
I mean,
It's just that the county has a very technical interpretation of the meaning, and they can, but let's not get into that.
Yeah.
It's not relevant.
yeah.
Well said.
Okay. Oh, it's a good start here, I
Yeah.
think. Guys have any comments or anything like that?
It's covered it all. I mean,
Yeah.
If there's anything we didn't think of, or that maybe we should have thought of, or whatever,
We got point 11 there to add what we
or
like.
it gets,
Can add it.
something happens that we didn't anticipate, you can adopt rules and regulations and impose them.
Right.
You could also terminate the license.
Right.
If you wanted to. So everything is, you're keeping control over everything.
Okay. I mean, you did a great job writing that up, Rick. I
Thank you.
Really appreciate that. So,
Attorney.
And they should file, I assume that somebody will contact, if you adopt this, that somebody will contact them and notify them of, I did it all in a written form, so you could just give them a copy.
Right.
And as a follow-up, they have to file the certificate of insurance with Steve. The certificate of insurance that was in their packet that they gave to the county, they may have updated it, but that was a certificate that expired earlier this month.
Yeah.
I assume they've renewed their liability insurance.
We'll find out, are we?
But anyhow, they're gonna have to give us, an updated certificate, with the $5 million.
And those.
And they should also give you I think it was in the county packet, but the qualified personnel that they were gonna be using, but I put in here that they shall file it with you, so.
Is there a fee for this license application?
Do that.
And we should.
You said you should do a license application fee on this too. Which is something we should do. What about that?
Otherwise, it's giving it away for
Any
free.
idea
Huh?
as to what that would be?
How would we go about that?
Well, if we had thought about it ahead of time, we would have told them last
Yeah.
week, or at the last meeting, that if they want us to consider their packet as an application to us, that they gotta pay us a fee. We could add a condition 12 at the end of this, if you want to. I emailed this to you guys, or
Yeah.
my secretary emailed it to you.
Yeah.
Is it in a form where you can add something? Okay,
Yeah,
because
just
she's
write it over and we can add that.
she's going on vacation for the rest of the week.
You won't be able to handle it, I know.
Let's not talk about that.
It's that computer word.
Exposed light bulb in the picture.
Yeah, that's right. With the slate and the hammer and the chisel.
Down with the line. Banging on the pipes to communicate.
That's right.
So what do we think is fair?
I don't even know. I mean, what are some of the,
I mean, what do we do for the beach parties? How does that work
that's
out?
it.
Percentage number? I
Beach
forget.
parties are anywhere from 50 to 1,000 based on, I mean, the average is 100. The towing license are 100. I think what else we have is, all the walk runs, we don't do an application fee. It's charged as, they incur time by PD or whatever staffing they use, building maintenance, things of that nature.
right?
The only two are really, the bonfires are 25.
Those are also
That's
like
about-
one-time events, though, too.
One-time events, exactly.
There's an ongoing, so that would
Right.
make the number.
Yeah, I mean, the only
Seemingly
thing that we
higher.
have out there that is an extended period of time, which is a one-year time, is the towing license.
We also
But
have
then
an
again, that's
application
not,
for
they're
dining.
only coming in when they get
Called.
called on a rotational basis, so. I'm sorry, Nancy?
We also have the outdoor dining. They have to pay a fee to do
Right.
the outdoor
Right,
dining.
that's 200.
And that's reasonable for that, I think.
So we could apply numbers similar to that, multiply it roughly how many weeks are left for this, at least for this year, to get something in, and we could address it a little more permanently with a
Yeah.
number
I mean,
or
probably
percentage next year.
Nancy's right, I mean, that's probably a good benchmark, because that's, the same window of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that that's too reasonable. Sorry, but I do.
Okay.
So, I mean, I was thinking more like 500 or 1,000. 500 maybe this year. 'Cause it's,
Fine with me, with the application
Okay.
packet.
I think
They
if you,
charge the kids again.
quite a bit, I'm sure.
What?
Yeah, I mean, they
Yeah, it's not
Yeah, there's,
I'm sure that they make a lot of money.
I mean, the number's almost arbitrary as from
Yeah,
what's
I
being
mean, really,
collected
you
on
could
the
say
other end. and what they-
$1,000 and it still
but-
is.
But I think it's something worth looking into.
I think if we charge nothing, you're gonna have a.
No,
it's gonna be-
I'm glad you saw that. I'm
Right.
glad you thought.
You know,
I don't have a
I
problem
mean,
with that.
roughly how many, but, I think per event kind of thing is, I think that might even be low. I mean, I don't know. Whatever they're charging per kid, per time, how many times a week,
Right.
I don't know, what does it come out to? How many weeks?
Well, I
are we
think we have to think in terms of this just being a flat fee. Forget about what he's charging or anything like that. He just says, that's part of my cost of doing business.
Not so much,
Yeah.
that much that, but how many times he's using a public beach.
Right.
So it's not so much taking a line, how much he's pulling in revenue, although it is part of it as well, but
So-
it's
and
more
another
importantly, how many
question I
times he's
have as
using.
it relates to this, I mean, we have put, and I don't know if they're down there because I haven't driven down there, but we've put porta-johns at some of the beaches. Or would we be required to do that since we know that they're having
No.
lessons there? Okay, just a
No.
question,
That's his,
right?
yeah.
There are those facilities at Fowler's.
There are porta-johns at Fells?
Yeah.
That was my
Yeah.
question, I haven't been
Yeah,
down there.
we
so I
have
don't
them at
know.
all,
Yeah.
at all the beach
No, 'cause
ends.
I
If
know
there's
that-
not
There's
if it's not a
two.
permanent facility, there are porta potties.
Okay, I wasn't sure of that, that was a,
Yeah, that's a good question, so.
Which
Okay.
would be used more and cleaned more and increasing the expense. So it's not just about what he's taking in, but, you're
Yeah.
You want to do 500 this year, 1,000 next?
I'll do 500, well, I mean, next year is gonna be, we're gonna approach this
As a per
It-
event, I think there's,
bid,
you know,
a
Bid
bid, a
permit.
bid thing,
Okay.
like we do Cooper's Beach
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
as a concession
Okay.
and then award. My belief is that we would take that approach and award one vendor.
Okay. But this year we
So,
want to
I
charge
mean,
500.
they have to know that this is a one-time thing
Mhm.
this year, next year it's changing.
it will most definitely, I think, hopefully change. In a whole different process.
This year you do 5?
Do 500.
Are we doing 500? Is there 750?
Okay, so you're adding in condition
Condition
12, the
12.
licensee shall pay a license fee to the village in the amount of
$500.
$500.
And we'll take care of the adding it to the PDF. Because I don't think you could even spell PDF.
You want to say that this license shall not become effective until it's paid? Or,
Well, I mean, he has to submit everything to the village, showing the insurance. And
I
Is
would
that good
add that.
legalese to
Yeah.
throw into with it?
Package.
I would say that the license doesn't become effective until all
Conditions
conditions
are
are met.
That being one of them.
I don't think the $500 is
well,
gonna
some of the
be cheap.
conditions apply during the course of it, so let's just
Okay.
add, okay, the licensee shall pay a license fee of $500 to the village.
Right.
This license shall not become effective until the licensee pays such fee.
Okay.
Meets all requirements, meets all application requirements?
Well, you have that in here, like, for the.
I have it in here for the insurance,
Insurance
I'm adding the
piece,
same
yeah.
thing to.
Okay.
This license shall not become effective until the licensee pays such fee.
Okay. All right.
So if you're all satisfied, you can make,
Okay.
somebody can make a motion to adopt this resolution as revised with the additional condition 12.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we have the second resolution for surfboarding, which is,
Okay, this resolution is obviously related to the surf school, but it's not, it doesn't directly involve the surf school. As you're probably aware from what I told you a month or two ago, there's a provision in the zoning code, in the village code, that regulates surfboarding in the ocean, and it designates certain areas in the ocean adjacent to the village that are prohibited areas for surfboarding unless you adopt a resolution saying that it's okay for surfboarding there at a, at a particular time. One of the areas under that section of the village code that where surfboarding is not allowed unless you pass a resolution is the area in the ocean at the end of Fowler Street, 200 feet to the east and west. And so you need to adopt this resolution about surfboarding in order to designate that part of the ocean as an area where surfboarding is allowed. And as I said, this doesn't apply just to the surf school, it applies to, the prohibition without a resolution applies to any surfboarding. It's probably a provision in the village code that hasn't come to our attention in a long time. So the resolution that's in your book is the minimum resolution that would be necessary in order that the surf school be able to use the license. I put in a provision here that this is applicable on the same days and hours that the surf school is applicable, so with that limitation in there, it would be limited to, basically limited to the surf school in that limited area. You don't have to have that provision in there, that's up to you. And I've also put in a provision that the designation terminates on September 15, 2013, so that for next year, you know, you can, with more time on your hands, you can review the whole package about where is surfboarding okay in the village, and also license or concession stuff. This is the minimum you need on a temporary basis in order to have the surf school license resolution go forward.
Okay. I'll make a motion to pass a resolution referencing surfboarding dated July 23rd, 2013.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? The discussion we have is a bike ride by Tick-Borne Disease Alliance on 8/25. 12, roughly 150 parties. There's a route plan in the back.
A new one?
Yeah, let me tell you the how this came about. I was approached by Christine Munn in reference to this is for Tick-Borne Disease Alliance. They were looking to do some type of bike ride and an awareness campaign to help raise money for research for the tick-borne diseases. You know, out here on the east end of Long Island, Lyme's disease is a serious issue. They've met with the hospital to create a partnership on improved testing and education and prevention on this, how to identify tick bites. And what they wanted to do was a bike ride, and initially they came in with about a 20-mile bike ride that kind of looped all over the village, and so I sit down with them and we worked on just a route that would be basically starting at Rotations, and it goes down Hampton Road to Narrow Lane, then jumps on Wickapog and Jen, and then goes back up Halsey Neck and Hill Street, and it goes back, ends up at Rotations again. It's really what it's where they're at. So it's a fairly simple ride. It's about an 8-mile ride. I want to do it early on a Sunday morning, where they sent it to me. Initially, I had Chief Cummings look at it, and Mike Ryan and Captain Ryan, and they made recommendations on some modifications to this. And it's all like right-hand turns, and they're going to stagger out the riders. And then what they want to be able to do also is, kind of a symbol on the northwestern part of the 25 Jobs Lane property, kind of like the Heart Association ride does.
Okay.
And put their sign-up tent there, and so I think it's a worthy cause. I think it'll have relatively.
Farmers market going on? What about?
No, they're not going to do a tent. Yeah,
Is there a
it doesn't
conflict? What about
impact the
this?
farmers market at all, because it's really down in the corner, right across the street from Rotations is all that is.
Are they linked in with any other larger group, national group, or is this all local based?
It's well, the Tick-Borne Disease Alliance is a New York based.
It's in New York, so it's something.
And they do a lot of education and trying to pull in, Connecticut and this, but, the months have had, some, personal tragedies around, tick-borne diseases, and, they've been very good citizens in the village, and I think this is a good opportunity for, a nice partnership between the hospital and Alliance. It's trying to raise awareness and do research behind tick-borne disease.
How are they raising funding? Through application fees or
Well,
donations?
they'll charge a fee to participate, but this is more of an awareness and than it is anything else. And it's trying to get support behind what they're trying to accomplish. And they met with the medical director at the hospital and members at the hospital, and we met with strong support from the hospital on this. So I think it's it'll be very important. So I'd like to make a motion to authorize the Tick-Borne Disease Alliance to hold a bike ride in accordance with their application.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye. Okay. That's it for discussion items here. We've got comments from board members. Trustee Yaz,
I'm good.
you're good. Trustee Irving there?
Something came to mind when Gary was speaking, and maybe we all should think about it a bit. I mean, he was requesting all the fleet is basically all pickup trucks. Maybe we should take a look at more energy efficient vehicles. There's certainly utility vehicles that aren't electric or compressed energy that are more fuel efficient than a normal old pickup truck. And I don't know, have we ever looked at what the
Did diesel.
engines are that they're using? I mean,
Well, they try to do the flex fuel as much as possible
right,
on them, but past that,
the
not
Echo
really.
Boost or anything like that.
No.
I think it's a good point, Michael.
It may be worthwhile to look at. And also, there are a lot of small Fords that are panel trucks that would be perfectly good for a mechanic as opposed to, a quarter-ton pickup truck.
Mhm. Good point.
So,
That's a great point.
That's where I think that list would come in handy.
Right.
As we go through and we look at the older vehicles, identified for replacement. I mean, that's a good
and
idea.
more efficient ones.
Yeah.
I mean, the last time we really tried to look into that was when they were looking for hybrid vehicles, and that was really at the infancy of the hybrid vehicles, and they just didn't apply for first responder vehicles. I
Right.
think we were trying to look into that for fire, and then that's, I think it was one of
It's
the
fire
closest
and
we came
police,
to
so
fire
we
and
were
police,
trying
and
to
that
do
just
it.
didn't-
Right.
With how much juice they need to draw by running all the time and going down the beach, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it was one of the last times we really put a concerted effort in looking towards it.
The hybrid
these
might
new-
go down with
But
their
that's what I mean,
Yeah,
BMW.
since
these
then,
new
certainly,
motors,
there's a lot more that's
yeah.
come along the way in that arena, technology-wise.
That's a good point, yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Especially with
we're-
the supervisor's vehicle, supervisors,
Supervisor doesn't need a three-quarter-ton pickup
That's
truck.
right.
yeah.
It looks good, but
Yep.
and if you look at our fuel usage, our deliveries have been 2,000, 3,000 every
Sure.
month.
Yep.
It would be nice to see that drop.
Especially a guy like John who's, back and forth. He puts on a lot of mileage.
Yeah, one guy in a three-quarter-ton pickup truck isn't.
That's right.
No, it's true.
Yeah,
I think it's a very good point.
that's a great point,
Mhm.
Michael. Great point. Nancy?
I would like to talk about parking. I would like to
Okay.
have, I don't know if we go to the planning commission to take another look at all of this, but this year is worse than ever, ever, ever. And I have people coming up to me on the street who are saying, why can't you just do what East Hampton does, where you go in and you take your ticket and you put it on the dashboard and they go around and they just ticket people. I had the cheese shop fellow said, you gotta do something. You have, and he had a crowded store when I was there, but he said it's just mind-boggling. And people are parking in spots that aren't even spots. So, I mean, and that's a safety issue. And the other thing I want to mention is, I really honestly have to say that and I don't know how we could do this, or if we can even do this, but when you have a store, let's say like one that's on Main Street right now, and that's a big chain, and they chose to renovate their store right in the middle of the summer season with a dumpster in the front of the store taking up 5 parking spaces on Main Street. I don't know if that should be allowed, quite honestly. Why do they have to do it in the middle of the summer, where they're taking up 5 parking spaces? I had people comment on that. We
Is it
really...
still out there? Is that supposed to be done by now?
No, it was there yesterday.
Okay.
And,
It was supposed to be a 24-hour.
it's been sitting
Oh.
there, taking up 5 parking spaces.
That's what they were doing. It was supposed to be there for 24 hours, and they were going to work around the clock to gut the store out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that was the.
So, I mean, these are things we have to really, really look at. And, I mean, the fellow from the cheese shop said, do anything that you can. I don't even care if you do elevated now. And I was laughing. I said, well, we can't just, wave a wand and it's done. I mean, but you know what? This year, I think, is the straw that broke the camel's back. It's just an impossible situation out there. And we're going to have to really seriously take a good look at this and how we're going to handle this in the future.
Parking garage right back there.
So, I'm bringing it up. I don't know what the best route to go is. Do we get the planning commission to take a look at our alternative ideas, or, and what is the best way to handle it? And, I mean, we have to do something now. This just can't continue. And the other thing is, everybody is so bent out of shape over the new food store. People want it, they're excited, but they're all like saying, how could this even be? No one can park. How are their customers going to park? And then someone said, oh, I don't think they're going to go ahead with it because I saw they sat somebody at the entrance off of Pine Street with a clicker, seeing how many people were coming in and how many people were going out. There isn't a single parking spot there. I know because I work there, but I have my own parking spot, which very often is taken by people, but it's true. So I know what, and then it's just, I mean, I'm smiling and laughing about it because it's ridiculous now. And so how does that grocery store expect to?
That's what I said to the guy.
I know. Well, that's what we said.
Said to him
We
one
said that
time.
to his attorney.
No room.
It's,
So I
that's
mean,
about as bad a location for
Yeah.
that business as
I
you
know.
could find.
Yeah.
so I mean, this is critical now. I mean, I think that we have a great village, and it's not even like you see that many people. So it's like, who is parking here? But we have a lot of
Employees.
offices. We have a lot of
You just
offices in the
mentioned-
village, myself included.
I mean,
I know,
is there a way,
exactly,
if there's
but
a way
I'm
to
telling
enforce
you.
employee parking
You're parking
down the
here.
road,
I
then,
am.
I
have my own
don't bring it
private
up,
parking
but,
spot, though.
I mean,
I'm part of the problem.
I mean,
So
employee
it's true.
parking is a big part of it.
So I mean, we have to think of. We have to
You know,
be
if a
creative
store
here
was gonna
and come
complain
up with-
about no parking, they really need to enforce their own employees to park elsewhere. It has to start from within before you
Right.
start enforcing and legislating. And right now, the people from within are not doing it yet. They're complaining about it, but they're not also being part of the solution yet.
Well, when I was in the cheese shop, he said, "Oh, I had to park way out there."
Yeah, way
and I
out
was,
there.
well,
It is
that's
way
where
out
you
there.
should be parking.
Mhm. Right.
Because if you're in
Exactly.
here all day long, that's where you should be
that's-
parking.
So
See,
that's part of the problem
That's
right
what
there.
kills me. You drive by.
He was complaining
and
that he had to park way out there, but the fact
Way
of the
out there.
matter
Well,
is,
but
you
then
should
you
be
should be
parking
parking
out there
way
to
out there.
allow for parking for your
Right.
people.
Quarter mile away,
Mm-hmm.
not even.
Everything is 1,000 feet from the West Main Street parking lot.
Right.
It's nothing. It's not on Main or Job's, but it's still not a mile away. It's nothing.
But, I wondered if we could reach out to, and I've discussed this with you, to some of the private lots that are really strictly office lots that really are being occupied by the people who are either tenants or owners of the building Monday through Friday. I wondered if we could reach out to them and ask if we could have signage that would go out, like our farmers marker signage saying village parking Saturday and Sunday, just to take some of it out of the village. It's not that far out of the village, we could indemnify them, because I'm sure they're worried about liability, but maybe we could indemnify them, insure them for that period of time. It would take, I mean, there may be people parking there anyway, but they're violating that private property. So, you know, maybe that's something that we could do, is to reach out to other areas close to the village to see if we could utilize some of their parking.
Well, the biggest area we can reach out to is the individual businesses and just ask the business owners to make sure their employees park in the municipal parking and leave the spaces in front of the stores and close for customers.
I think during the summertime, a lot of them do.
No.
They don't?
Absolutely not.
Hell not.
No.
No.
You know.
Well, that should be number one.
I'm not saying that's the pure solution, but it's certainly it's part of it, you know. That would alleviate a good amount.
But
of
maybe
stuff.
we should, I think what we might want to do, and the planning commission can certainly do this, is to get an idea of how many people we have that would need to have full-day parking within the community. Because we say, oh, we have all-day parking back there, we have a row behind Hampton Road, but is that really enough? I'm sure it's not. And I'm not saying turn more into all-day parking, but what I'm saying is we really need to know how much all-day parking we need. Or we'll have to come up with another solution. I mean, to allow, even if it's not all day. I mean, I know in my business people are in and out, in and out. They don't have to park there for 6 hours. They might be in the office for 2 hours and then they're gone. So, and I think a lot of the offices are that way, except maybe in your business, Bill, people probably go and stay for a good part of the day. But I know in real estate, people are in and out all the time.
No,
They're-
people don't know. You mean the clientele doesn't stay long at all?
No, I know, but what I'm saying is the employees of the
Employees.
business, they probably come in at 9 and leave at 5. I'm not sure
Yeah,
if that's
but
what they
For
do.
the most part, they use the church parking lot.
Yeah. But see, there's a private parking lot that they're willing to allow you to use that. I'm saying, is there any more of that we could
God
reach
help
out
us if the
to?
church
Well,
ever
sure,
gets-
I know,
it-
that's-
it is being used. I mean, the CVS is.
I mean, your
village,
business
it's
is lucky
private.
that you have that. There
Yeah.
are other
Oh,
companies
without it.
around that don't have that.
Movie theater parking, that's private, but we
And the
can use
movie
it.
theater parking, you know, that is private, but we don't have a contract with them anymore. We need to have some sort of a contract with them to allow for that. So, you know, we that's something else that we can add to the list of things that need to be done.
Yeah.
So, because I'm sure on weekends, I don't know if they have matinees on weekends. I think they do. So that would be a problem for them on a Saturday or a Sunday, but during the week, we could almost have that during the day as employee parking area. It's not that far. I mean, for God's sakes, if you work in New York, you're walking blocks and blocks and blocks to get to where you need to go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we may need to invest money in some real estate too.
Right. I hate parking lots. I hate to say it, but I hate
Just laugh at all
them.
those hearings we had at
About parking garage.
well, about having the Glennon property for
I
and how
know.
everybody was flying off about traffic. Good Lord.
I know.
That's a perfect location, as far as I'm concerned.
Me too. I couldn't agree more. I mean, sometimes when you're sitting here, you see it first.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but, and then we have, you know, I mean, I don't even know, people are excited about that store coming. I just don't even know. Someone told me he's gonna have a drive-up window. I said, where's that going? You know, I mean,
Window.
a drive-up window so you could pick up your
Right
groceries,
in the
order them and
parking
pick
lot.
them up, or someone told me that. I have no idea whether that's part of the, but you know what, I mean, maybe he'll have a really good delivery service. I don't know, but I can't even
A
imagine.
drive-up window, that's gonna, I
Can you,
wanna,
that's what I'm saying. I'm
wanna
wondering
see
where
that.
that's going.
Right in the middle of your parking lot.
Right,
you get a tossed salad.
right,
Boss.
right.
Is there any way to actually write something in the code? You can't enforce where to park. Can you in a private business?
No.
No.
I mean,
Public parking's public parking, so you can't, we just control the time, control who parks there.
I find it counterintuitive that somebody who owns any business in a village is a member of a chamber or whatever coalition, and is, even if they don't, even if it doesn't impact their personal business, they're impacting their neighbor's business, or 2 doors down or 3 doors down,
true.
somewhere they're impacting. So I just can't even believe somebody doesn't consider that before they park in a friggin' spot.
But they don't.
That should be
Especially
used for
after-
public,
Especially after that Bob Gibbs study,
especially after that.
and then the numbers that came
You
in,
know,
so.
and if not, then you need a parking garage, which nobody wants. So the people got to go somewhere, and it means they got to get the hell off of Main and Job's Lane to allow for the public to use it, which is the intended use.
Well, we could have a worse problem, we could have nobody here.
That's right. Again, it's a nice problem to have. It'll work itself out. People move on or they don't. I mean, but
I'm just
Why
saying
don't we
that we
parking
need to
space?
look into it because
Right.
we're missing
I'm not-
something
yeah.
here. We're
Well,
missing something, and we need to find
probably-
out a
Probably
better
what we need
way.
to do is update the parking study that we did several years ago, and then go back.
I don't know. I think we need to
Because
be
that parking,
innovative.
that parking study said that there always was parking opportunities in the village of Southampton.
Not anymore.
That
That's
well,
what you're right.
I'm just
Well,
saying that
right. You're probably
the parking
we should-
study showed that and they went through and they marked tires and wrote down license plates on every single spot in the village business district. And what they said is that there was always, no matter what it was, the busiest time of the year, we always found there were always parking spots available. No
There are.
lot was 100% occupied.
which is true. They're around. People just have to go seek it, and people don't
So-
want to seek it.
So the question is, do we have more activity to where we reach that 100% on multiple lots now?
That's a good point.
And then do we have to go back and then rethink opportunities? Or-
Well, I
because-
remember when East Hampton put in those
Yeah.
meters. I guess they're called meters
Yeah.
because you go in and you take a ticket.
Well, it's in a lot.
Because
It's just in one lot.
I had an office over there, and you know, people would come into the office and sit in the office, and they were only allowed 2 hours, and it was almost hilarious because we didn't have it here, but so they would clock it, you know, and they'd say, oh my God, I gotta go move my car, and so they would drive out, they'd be fine, they'd come back around, they'd get a new ticket, and that's what they had to do, but
And are they paying for the ticket?
no, you don't pay. You get the first 2 hours. The way they do it is, it tickets it. You're supposed
So
to
they do
put
the same
it
thing
on
you
your
do here.
dashboard, and then instead of marking the car with chalk, which is what you don't like, because instead of marking it with chalk, they go around and read the cards on the
with chalk.
dashboard,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you're honestly in East Hampton, if you're 2 minutes over they're right on top of it. You get a ticket. So it's one way of doing it. It's not like you get the first two. It's not like a big shopping store where you get, you know, the first 2 hours or 3 hours free and then you pay. I mean, that's something we can consider, but I don't think our businesses want us to do that because we would be the only one on the East End charging for parking, and they would say, that's going to ruin our business.
Yeah.
Even the meters they thought would ruin their business,
Yeah.
but
You wanted meters, didn't you, Mark?
No, I didn't.
And then, you know, the long-term
Meter man?
parking, for those people who come in, you don't have to take, well, you do, because they have the thing that comes down. But if you took one of the tickets and you got a long-term parking spot, they don't check that area. They would just check the areas that have time limits on them. So, I mean,
No, but the other.
and it might force people up to the next parking lot.
Yeah. Well, I do think there are additional opportunities. You know, we work, if you looked at the hospital, if we, you know, a year ago, we were looking at the hospital and thinking, well, we didn't have many opportunities, and then we were able to come in with diagonal parking over there. We added a
Right.
lot of spots, so
Right.
there's
That was
opportunity.
great.
We've talked about diagonal
Which we could ultimately
parking
do on Hampton
along Windmill Lane. We've
Right.
talked about it on Nugent. We've talked about it on Hampton Road. I know right now we're just waiting on that Safe Routes to School grant to cycle out and before we go back and do some of those changes.
Right.
But those are all opportunities. where you
And that
can-
will add a lot of parking,
That's
and
a
that
lot,
will make
just
a
3
lot of
roads
people
alone,
happy
yeah.
Well, if you could
because,
have the bicycle lanes back,
Put something back
you'd
in
really
there.
have plenty of room for the diagonals.
Yeah.
I look at them all the time,
Yeah.
the darn bicycle lanes,
well,
and of
that's
course,
what we would do on the south side of Hampton Road, is take that one bicycle lane out. We still have one on the other side, correct? And then we would do on the diagonal there, which gives you 2.5 times the parking.
But that's
Then-
Especially
but
that
we
area.
have to wait until that Safe Routes to School grant is done.
So for next
Because that
summer,
was
we
all
may
part
have
of
that.
the-
Is that correct?
That was the idea.
That's
Hell, it was always
the
going to be this
idea.
summer until we found out
Yeah.
we had to wait.
And you can actually extend that all the way up in front of Town Hall. And you could go right up along that area.
And it's good for that street because it will slow traffic down on that street.
Well, everybody, yeah, everybody. You know, when people come into diagonal parking, they slow down.
And if that supermarket goes in there, that's gonna be a good thing, because very often, I mean, people will go in and run and pick up something and run right back out again, hopefully.
Yeah.
So-
But if they can't get parked, they're not gonna park back here and run over to
No, they're not.
Cittarella's, and
I know where to park.
they're gonna,
Yeah.
that's gonna be
Well, as we
a
said,
class one disaster.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I think it's a good challenge to throw back at the planning commission to, you know, we've looked at parking, you know, but, thinking about that stuff, so.
You know, I mean, I think about our village, and I think about, there's another thing I'd also like to add. I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget it. I think about our village, and I think about the empty Rogers Memorial Library. At some point, that's gonna be filled with something.
Right.
That's gonna require more parking. I mean, the Pottery Barn, the old town hall / Saks, that has its own parking. But, you know, maybe it's not enough. I mean, so people are looking for other areas around there, you know? So, I mean, as we go through things that are changes that are taking place in our village, it requires more parking. When and if that building ever becomes occupied, that's gonna require quite a bit of parking back there.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
remember-
and,
But remember, in the master planning piece, the shared parking, that's the idea of moving the stores up onto the sidewalks and doing shared parking in the back, where you actually increase the size of our municipal lots, and one person parks at point A and then walks to ideally 3 or 4 different stores to shop. And that's, and we've improved our passageways from the parking lot to the main street with bricking, you know, and, you know, keeping those alleys open for flow are important. And,
I mean, we have the old post office. I have no idea what the parking is behind there, because you could never go back there. I've never been back there. I don't even know if it's a lot or a little. It's sitting there.
It's not a whole lot.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just sitting there.
wouldn't it be great to be able to buy that lot, but it would probably be too expensive, and then create the parking lot.
Well, they're trying to fill that building too. They're trying to rent out that space.
Yeah. Oh,
And then they'll need their parking, so.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, a lot of it all is human nature too. As a matter, just before the meeting, Steve and I witnessed this one car that was right across from us, waiting directly across the street on the other side, facing north, for a spot for the guy people to pull out, and they were clearly nowhere near pulling out because all doors are open and they were loading as we're watching the cars back up onto Job's. There was a spot vacant, 4 spots up,
which he couldn't
That's
see.
what
He or she
happens.
couldn't see.
and that's human nature and impatience and stupidity and rudeness. That is what you get the complaints from a lot. That's what stems a lot of the problems. When you remove that,
We have
Then
Rick
you
draw
have-
up a
you have enough
resolution
parking.
against rudeness.
Yeah, right.
you know. So, and we're just watching that unfold in front of us. I'm like, you're kidding me. But
I just hate it when you're coming up and you see somebody get in the car, and then, I don't know if they have to look at their cell phone to see what calls they got, but it can take them 15 minutes
yeah,
before they
I've
ever.
done that. It's terrible.
Drives you nuts. In the meantime, everybody's backed up behind you because you think you're getting a
I
parking
still
spot.
say I've never had a problem finding a spot yet. I go in all different times of years, but whatever.
all right. All right, Bill?
I've heard I'm getting
I
complaints.
think, I'm grateful that my position in the community got me out of a murder trial. Jury duty that would have gone for 6 weeks if I had been selected, but they allowed as how I should be here. A great thought.
Yeah.
Somebody had taken a knife to somebody's fair lady, and I didn't want to be around for that one either. But they excused me
Wow.
for 6 years.
Yeah, no, isn't that great?
Said I'll be 112. No, nothing more.
I just wanted to actually just touch base on Southampton Center and the activities over there. I mean, we had the opening of the place on July 12th. And I thought we were gonna end up with about 150 people, and I think we were almost at 500 people that showed up at the opening that night. And then, and a movie, and then, different activities that have gone on all week have exceeded all of the expectations of the numbers we thought would be participants. Those numbers have basically, we doubled everything that we were hoping to achieve. And on Friday night, I had to film out here. There was a lot of people that showed up. It was a great place. And Sunday, between the art and the park, I came down to see, and the farmers market has doubled in size in the last year. So much activity on that side. So it's just a lot of good people working very hard to accomplish something, and it's and the idea is people get caught up in the cost of it, but the reality is, if you develop your audiences and you develop your programming, then support follows that. And that's been the focus now, is to develop good quality programming, find out what the audience is like, and pull people there. And that's where the success will be. And we've made some great improvements, and the schedule, I know, is online at southamptoncenter.org, and Southampton Press has done a nice job about putting stuff out there, and a lot of the businesses have the schedule for the summertime. So if you haven't, I encourage you guys to get over and see the displays and participate. It's really some nice community events that are going on there. So, and hopefully we'll be able to continue, and not only it'd be something like the concerts in the park that Bill, you started when you were the mayor, and which has been a great tradition in this village.
Yeah, people look
It's
forward to it.
continued, and everybody talks about it, and they get excited about the concerts in the park, and hopefully that'll be the same thing that happens with the Southampton Center. So very proud of the work everybody's done. Steve and the building department and our guys have
They've done a great job.
bang-up job there. I mean, just between
Yeah.
prepping the site, maintaining the site, and the efforts that have gone on in there to make it user-friendly. It's
Yeah, they really pushed.
yeah, they really have done a very nice job, and very proud of the work that they've done. So, but we're lucky to live in a community where we have so many different people stepping up and volunteering, from the ambulance and the fire department, and to this facility over here. So it's good. So that's all I have to say. We're going to go to second public comment. Anybody from the public would like to make comment? No? Okay, so I'm going to make the motion to go into adjourn to executive session for the purpose of discussing personal matters involving village employees.
Second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.